Hello everyone, my name is Anshu Jain and welcome to Fluxx Talks. Well, today we are joined by Dr. Jacqueline Dowdy, the founder and CEO of Vision in Action Business Solutions LLC, a firm dedicated to strengthening nonprofits, businesses, ministries, and educational institutions through strategic leadership, organizational development, and practical actionable guidance. And Dr. Dowdy's work focuses on helping leaders move from intention to impact by aligning vision, strategy, and purpose. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Well, the pleasure is all ours. I would want to understand one thing from you, specifically from your journey. You have led in so many spaces, from higher education and behavioral health to business and ministry. Well, we would want to understand a bit more about what shaped your path and how these experiences led you to where you are today.
Thank you for having me today. My path has been one of resilience and faith. And growing up, I did not grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I learned from a very early age what things that I wanted to do, what I wanted to aspire to do in life. And even though I didn't have access to much, but I had great aspirations growing up. And so it was up to me to really make my vision and my dream for my life a reality. I was supported by my mom, my family. And so as I moved in life and became an adult, one of the things that really drove my path was I was very intentional about leveraging every opportunity that came my way. And I will give you an example of that. Every job that I had, it was intentional, and I leveraged whatever I could learn, however I could develop it so that I can use it in my next phase of my development. And so even with my education, it was all intentional. I got my accounting degree, undergrad degree. And then when I went to divinity school, it was intentional because I realized at that point that my work was an integrated work. And so if you look at my business and my platform is all integrated with business strategy along with the spiritual strategy. And so for me, getting my PhD, my MBA, it was all intentional. My PhD was one because I had a passion for education, and I worked in education a lot. And so that was intentional because for me, I aspired to be a president of a college or university. And one of the major things is that one of the greatest things to my heart is historically Black colleges and universities, and really paving the way and giving back to those organizations. And I'll tell you one major thing that led my path, especially for nonprofit, was I began working for a nonprofit early in my career, early 80s. And not only did I worked as a bookkeeper, and I was going to school for accounting. And so one of the things that I learned from that experience was I learned how to write grants. I actually did a lot of volunteer work in working with families who had loved ones who were on death row. I learned about recidivism and lessening, the reentry into prison systems, as well as learning about mental health and substance use. And I had to learn that because my dad went to the Vietnam War when I was very small. And when he returned, he was never the same. So my mom had to really raise us as a single parent. But from that, I learned to understand what he was dealing with. And during those times, there were not resources like there are now to help people. And so that was a great pathway for me. And as you can see, I have a very diverse, integrated business ministry. And so that's my path.
Well, your life journey is one of resilience, determination, grit, and hard work.
Yes.
And you're the life example of where there is a will, there is a way. As it is rightly mentioned, when your intent is right and you're willing to put in all the hard work from your end, there is nothing in the world that can stop you from achieving what you aspire to. Right, wonderful.
Exactly.
You work on this concept which is known as D3, which is
Mhm.
really powerful and unique. We would want to understand from you what is this D3 concept?
Well, D3 leadership blueprint came out of pain and purpose. And um, it came from my work experience as a leader. And through those experiences, I developed this D3 leadership blueprint. And I will tell you that it came from working in environments that were experiencing deficits, financial deficits, communication deficits, very toxic environments, and lack of board engagement and just teamwork. And so, with that experience, it came with some pain because for me, there was deficits in the finances, there were deficits in communication, and the delays were that people and the systems were not aligned, and so that created a lot of delays for me in my work. And also when it comes to deception, there were people around me that I had to trust, and finding out that you could not really trust the people that were closest to you when you're in a leadership role, that's very disheartening. But I learned from all of those experiences. And so for me, writing this book, I wrote the book, D3 Leadership Blueprint. And the book is for leaders, and the book is turning delays, deficits, and deception into triumphs. And basically, it gives you a roadmap, and it really talks to you about being true to yourself and being true to the situation that you're in. And not only that, being strategic in working with your team and understanding that a lot of times truth can be hidden, and you have to be very discerning. So the book is a roadmap in how you operate and function as a leader in any environment. So that was a life, that's not theory, that is an experience lived. So that's the purpose of that D3 leadership.
If we look around, I believe these are the three core barriers that any leader face around: deficit, delay, and deception. I'm pretty sure that your book is going to help hundreds or
Yes.
thousands who are dealing through these problems on a
Yes.
day-to-day basis and help them become better leaders. Could you please say it again? Mention that how is your book titled so that it reaches mass here.
Sure. The book is called The D3 Leadership Blueprint: Turning Delays, Deficits, and Deception into Triumphs. And it's on Amazon, and you can go on my website and order from me if you like.
You have to get it right now, right there.
Yes. And my website is www.getviasolutions.com.
Wonderful. Well, we are all aware that you bring a rare blend of faith, strategy, and spiritual connection into leadership. What is the science behind it?
So let me just tell you that God gives us vision, and the vision that He gives is our strategy, right? And so we have to take the vision that He gives to us, and we have to be intentional about um, implementing that vision. And for me, throughout my career, it has been prayer and preparation, okay, to position me to be the best that I can be in anything that I do. And one of the things, and the reason that my work is blended with my faith, is because I've seen it work for me. And I've seen it in a way that you can start small, but if you are leading by aligning yourself with the vision that God has given you, and aligning yourself with your faith, then nothing is impossible. And so that's how I've been leading my life with purpose. It's not led by, getting the most money or having the titles. It's been led by purpose. And when it's led by purpose, that's when the increase comes, because you're not only living your life out in purpose, but you're having an impact on other leaders, on other people's lives, and you're helping society in a way that God has given it to you. And so, yeah, it's alignment.
I guess it is the blend, it is that combination of prayer, that faith and preparation that makes you unstoppable. And you've put in so right.
Yes.
When you have that faith in the Almighty,
Mm-hmm.
and you're ready to give it all that you have,
Yes.
there is nothing that can stop you from
Absolutely.
achieving what you aspire to. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure your journey has not been so easy. You must have encountered a lot of challenges, right? How are you able
Absolutely.
to overcome that?
So, yeah, I've had many challenges. And I'll tell you, like I said earlier, I take every opportunity and I leverage it to see what is it I'm supposed to get out of that opportunity, whether it's a challenge, whether it's adversity, whatever it is. I'm always looking at it in a way that I can leverage it to help me to grow and be better. And so with some of the challenges I've had, for an example, being a CEO of a behavioral health organization, walking in the door, I was faced with a $1.8 million deficit, very toxic environment, not much engagement by a board. And so walking into that situation, my choice was to flee or to stay and just face it. And so I decided to stay and face it. But it was good for me, although it was a very challenging time, but it was good for me because in that I grew. And in that, I learned some new insights, and not just about myself, but just about being a leader itself. It tested my resiliency. It tested my faith. It tested everything that was in me. But it was an experience that showed me that I can do it, and showed me what it would take to do it. And I believe that I had the tenacity and the knowledge and the skill set, and I had already been prepared to help this organization to come out of the deficit, which we did in less than a year. Um, and I had to do some quick work, realigning things, looking at the whole organization in its totality. And one of the things that I really, really talk about in my nonprofit work is making sure that you have a board that is engaged and supportive. Because as a leader, if you're running a nonprofit and you're out there and you don't have the support of your board and they're not engaged, then you're carrying the whole weight of that organization. And that can cause burnout. And so that's why I share my D3 leadership blueprint, because it's, like I said, it's not theory, but it's a lived experience.
Well, you've spoken so much about your leadership journey, the challenges that you faced, and how your determination, the resilience, and the grit that you carried not just allowed you to sail through the entire process, but then emerge out of it successfully.
Yes.
What, according to you, makes a great leader?
For me, a great leader is someone who can multiply others. What I mean by that is, to be a leader is not just for yourself. It's for you to pour into other people to help them to become that leader. I always say that you always have to have a succession plan, right? So if you have a vision and you're running that vision, you always have to plan to prepare the next leader. And so leadership is about building leaders. It is about taking the knowledge and the skill set that you have and being able to mentor and coach other people to be the best that they can be. And I will tell you that works for me on both sides. My vision and action, business solutions company, as well as my ministry, Faith in Action Ministries. So my goal in life is to see people shine, to see those light bulbs come on, and to see them be the best that they can be. And there are some people I encountered that don't even know that they have the leadership capability, right? But when you start talking to them and pouring into their lives, they discover that they can be a leader. They can lead with purpose, that they do have a purpose, and that there is a calling, for them to fulfill. So that's what keeps me going as a leader. And I think that's the purpose of being a leader. It's not title, it's not position, but it's purpose and what you do with that in pouring into other people.
I'm really short of words with all that you said. It is so true, especially in a world which is so self driven right now.
Yeah.
But I would want to ask another question. We live in a world, we live in a scenario where most of the time people believe when they're working not for themselves, as in not for their own organizations, when they're employed by somebody else, that they're doing it to feed their families.
Mm-hmm.
How a leader can have the power to motivate them, to make them understand that the work that they're doing or performing is not just a task assigned for which they're getting, for which they are receiving salaries at the end of the month, but then it is something that they should be passionate about.
Absolutely. And that's why I say I talked a lot about intention. You have to be intentional about everything that you do, even if you're in the workforce. Be intentional about those jobs that you are applying for. Is it something that is part of your purpose in life? Is it aligned with who you are as a person, as a leader? And if it's aligned with you, then I'd say go for the position, because not only are you going to make money to feed your family, but you're going to be working in your purpose. You're going to be living out your purpose, right? And while you're doing it on the job, right, you take that opportunity and you learn from it. And then eventually you're going to have a vision of your own, and you'll be able to venture out and become that entrepreneur, start that school, start that nonprofit, start that business, start that coaching business. It'll happen. It just happens that way. And that's how I feel. You have to be intentional about everything that you do in life.
Is aligned with your purpose, your mission,
exactly.
and your motives. How do we deal with the toxic work cultures?
So that's a thing that really I talk about in my D3 leadership book, because the toxic work cultures are very challenging. A lot of people will leave a situation rather than stay in the situation and deal with it. As a leader, if you understand that you have been called to that place to do the work, then you've got to do the good, the bad, and the ugly of the work, right? And so that means that's why I say, my faith is integrated with everything that I do, because it requires you to be spiritually grounded to rise above that toxic environment or those challenges that you're facing. And so with the toxic environments, it's really about trust. It's really about building a team that trust you, and it's about empathy with people. And that's why I also have my new coaching program that I added to my platform, which is Inside Out Coaching. And that is on the premise of emotional intelligence. I'm certified in emotional intelligence. And so one of the things I learned is that change has to take place on the inside before it can be demonstrated on the outside. And so with that, in toxic environments, you can't fight fire with fire. You've got to learn to navigate through that toxic environment, but understanding and having an awareness of who you are as a person, and ensuring that you're not reacting, but you're being proactive and very strategic in handling those toxic environments. And so I didn't get it at first. I didn't know that at first. It was very hard. So I was doing a lot of reacting, But I learned through that experience that that wasn't the way. The way is I have to turn inward first and then deal with the situation outwardly to demonstrate my emotional intelligence of being aware and being empathetic and being honest and truthful with my team. We could work through the toxic environment and build trust and build team and build that camaraderie. So that's just how I had to navigate through it. I didn't get it all right in the beginning, but I think after I've gotten through some of the situations that I've been in, it caused me to reflect. And that's why I have everything is integrated for me. Everything is, I call it the alignment method. It's integrated because when you talk about business, that's one thing. And you have to know how to run a business and know all uh, the tools and implementation of whatever you do in your business. So, but the other thing is the people business, right? And you got to really have those people skills to navigate through these toxic environments or even challenging people that you encounter. You have to have the people skill. And so, and then, just really understanding who you are, having that awareness of who you are.
Because leadership roles can be extremely emotionally demanding, and you have covered it so well. The importance of emotional intelligence and self-awareness in the entire journey and the entire process.
Absolutely.
Unless and until you are aware of who exactly you are, what do you really want,
Yes.
You wouldn't be able to, as you mentioned, get the best out of yourself.
Yes.
You will keep on reacting all the time.
Yes.
It is not about reacting. It is about taking the situation proactively.
Absolutely. Because reacting, I will be honest with you, it will burn you out mentally, exhaust you. So you have to learn a different way of handling things so that you can maintain your sanity and keep yourself healthy. And I do talk a little bit about that in my book because that's very important because I went through it, exhausted, burned out, fighting a battle that I was going in circles, but I realized that there was another way to approach it. Yes.
Great. While you have mentored so many around the world, your book has helped so many around the world. At the same time, it has been such a great experience talking to you, learning about your journey. And believe me, in such a short span, I got to discover myself in ways that I've not been able to do before. I'm pretty sure of the same. Now, well, you're also the proud recipient of Fluxx Awards. How do you feel about it?
Honestly, I'm very excited and very honored to receive this award. I see it as one that it testifies to my resilience, and it is a testimony of innovation and grit, as you mentioned, and just to understand that God sometimes can put you in places that you never thought you would be in. And this is a place that I never thought I would be in. And so I'm excited. I'm very honored. And just having the opportunity to be on that stage and to receive that award just really builds me up as a leader to know that what I am doing in the world and what I bring to the world is having an impact and that someone notices it. And it's very encouraging. So I'm excited.
Well, when you continue your journey with all honesty, there is somebody out there observing, monitoring every single bit, and he knows you very well in and out.
Yes.
And that's power.
Absolutely.
And that's magic.
Yes.
Which is being created that you're witnessing life at the moment.
Yes.
Well, before we conclude, one message that you would like to deliver to all the people who are connected with us at the moment.
Well, I would just like to say that as a leader, just take every moment and embrace every moment that you have and to just walk in grace and power gracefully and to be humble. Humility plays a big part in leadership. And when you display that humility, it does not take away from who you are as a leader. it really helps you become the leader that you have been called to be. And it really moves you to the next level. And I learned this through my faith in God, that humility takes you a long way, and that what's for you is for you, and be you. Take care of you and allow God to lead your path. Also, just keep in mind that you're dealing with people. And so when it comes to dealing with people, that you have to have that emotional intelligence along with your who you are, your personality, to really demonstrate and show the world that who you really are. And that shows your transparency. And people like transparency. And so be you.
Thank you so very much. And it is so very well put, so very well said. Humility and gratitude can take you to places you can't even imagine.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Jacqueline. It has indeed
Thank
been such a
you.
great pleasure knowing about your journey and getting to learn so much about this fabulous work that you have been doing, impacting, touching millions of lives around. Thank you for being a part of Fluxx Talks, and we just can't wait to see you around. Attending our event today. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, that was Dr. Jacqueline with us, sharing the wonderful work that she has been doing and impacting millions of lives around. And for more such interesting conversations, all you need to do is to follow our social media handles, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, Fluxx Talks. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Fluxx Talks. See you in the next episode. Thank you.